and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is Fussy King Ludwig herself.
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Castles of Mad King Ludwig, 1st edition. Now, if you want to see our two-player perspective and accessibility, check out the Rolling with Two, Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right, Castles of Mad King Ludwig is a tile-laying game of wacky castle building. Each turn, one player is the master builder and sets the prices for each of the rooms on offer. Other players pay the master builder for the room they want, add it to their own castle, and score points accordingly. After the room deck is exhausted, the game ends and the player with the most points wins. All right, Will, so why did we buy this?
So we're big fans of Suburbia and Ted Alspach's design, so we were really eager to see what came next from him. This was it.
Right, and which is why we have the 1st edition, because we got it back in 2014.
Yes.
All right, so what do we like about the game?
It utilizes the theme. Most of the time when you have a dry theme like this, it kind of goes in one ear, out the other, because it doesn't really matter. But this one is... King Ludwig made some crazy looking castles.
Right.
And what you end up with is a crazy looking castle at the end of this. So it perfectly utilizes the theme that they went with.
I agree. It's fun. It's still a bit dry, but it's fun.
Yes.
And it also has some really highly interactive, player interaction. I don't know how else to put it, but because you have to judge what other players want when you're the master builder and you have to set the prices for the rooms, you're trying to get as much money as you can from the other player or players, but you're also trying to make sure to put what you want at a price point that you can afford, but that other people won't want more.
Yes.
So there's a lot of just assessing other players
and yourself
and trying to predict where, what price to set everything at.
Yeah. A lot of people, when they hear player interaction, immediately think, oh, it has attack. This is not attack.
No.
This is essentially wheeling and dealing and trying to price gouge without price gouging.
Right. You're kind of like a salesperson. You're trying to be like, okay, you want this room, right? Okay, will you give me like 8,000 for it? And then the player's like, nah, that's a little too much.
Dang it.
I'm like, ah. And so then maybe you try the next time. You're okay, well, you didn't want to pay 8,000. 6,000?
It has a 1,000 discount on it now.
Oh, it's shiny. Yeah. Buy it. I don't know. But it's really, really different.
And engaging.
We haven't played a lot of other games that have this kind of negotiation without negotiation.
I think the closest you get are the games where I cut, you choose.
Yeah.
And that kind of builds on this. It just has a layer of economics on top of that.
Because it feels a little bit more open-ended.
Yeah, because unlike I cut, you choose, well, what they choose ends up paying you.
Mm-hmm, which is really important.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's very interesting. The other great thing that we really like is it has a lot of good accessibility features, like the icons are all unique, and that's important because there's a lot of different room types. So if you want to know more about that, be sure to watch our Rolling with Two for Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Now, what we don't like about the game, we've played quite a few games of this now, and it almost seems without a doubt that the player who wins is the one who got more bonus cards.
Yeah.
Now, you still have to play a good rest of the game, but like one of our more recent games, Will played a really strong, buying game.
Yeah.
You were building a lot of good rooms.
Yeah, and they were synergizing well with each other.
I got more bonus cards, and it was just...
And you were playing good enough.
Yeah, I was playing good enough for the rooms, but the fact that I was getting more bonus cards, I had more opportunities to score.
It felt like you were sandbagging. You're like, yeah, I can still see him. I can still see him. End of the game. Okay, I'm going to move past you.
Right. Now, the frustrating part with the bonus cards is it really is a moment of opportunity because there's so many factors to the game that are random that you, like at the beginning of the game, you're given 3 cards and you discard one of them. But at that point, you don't have a lot of information as to what's actually going to come out.
Yeah.
So we've definitely had games where the cards I get at the beginning of the game never score, because like one of them's for the big round room, and a big round room never comes out. So you literally can't score points for it.
Right.
So getting bonus cards during the course of the game is better, because then you can see at least what has happened.
Yeah, but with the game you won, you like grabbed them like, well, I'll get points for that.
Right.
So, easy.
Yeah, because each time you put out one of these, I think it's utility rooms, right?
Yes, and finish it.
And well, yeah,
Which is only one door, so it's easy to finish.
You draw two and you keep one. Well, if you look at it, one is now at the moment going to give you 0 points, and the other one's going to give you 1 point. Well, you're going to take the one that currently gives you 1 point, even if that's all it ever gives you for the rest of the game.
Because it's free.
It's free. So that is kind of an odd point that we've found so far. Now, granted, again, most of our games are 2 players, so I don't know if that might change at a higher player count. We've only managed a few games at a higher player count, just because of the way things are. Now, the other thing is keeping the castles together is quite fiddly.
Yeah, some of the hallway corridors are really thin pieces, and bumping the table, slightly knocking it.
Even adding a room,
it
moves things around.
Yeah, you're like, I added a room here, and that side of the castle fell apart.
Because nothing is the same size, nothing goes flush up. Like when you have normal like square or hexes and you're putting everything together, if something gets knocked off, you can just go like squish it in and it's all aligned again. But here you can't do that because it'll just make it worse, because nothing is flush. So keeping the doorways aligned, because the doorways are in odd spots on all the different sides, it's just very fiddly and sometimes a little frustrating. And on that point, some people, which is mostly me in this particular case, spatial reasoning is quite challenging.
Yeah, the thing I do like about that is it balances out the playing field, because a lot of times when we've played a polyomino game, for example, Arc Nova comes to mind.
Yeah.
Seeing the whole board and knowing where to place stuff, because like putting a piece over something gets you a bonus.
Right.
That type of puzzle piece, I don't really have that foreknowledge.
No.
Where she does, so she's usually at an advantage. This one, not so much.
Yeah. So my terrible spatial reasoning balances out his terrible eyesight.
Yeah. That's what you want, right?
It's a very even playing field with a really crazy castle building game. Okay, so I think that's about everything there. Who is this for?
This is going to be for the advanced players who still lean towards drier games.
Yeah.
Because it's as wacky as the castles are, the overall feel of the game still feels a tad dry.
Yeah, you're building a castle.
Yeah. But it does take a more advanced player for that.
Because it is a bit more complicated.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to our ratings.
So for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Castles of Mad King Ludwig First Edition roll for you?
It rolled a 4. Now, this is a game of opportunity, and these type of games can be hit or miss with me depending on a lot of factors. Overall, I do really enjoy the game. It's just that a lot of those opportunities don't go your way just because of how random all the elements are and how they can come together, and often not in your favor. And it still comes down to like the fact that the bonus cards are like critical to winning. It rubs me a little bit the wrong way. However, I do enjoy the game, so if Will comes up and says, hey, I want to play Castles of Mad King Ludwig, I'm usually like, okay, let's play.
Okay. For me, it rolled a 5. So I like the whole construction of the game, the feeling that I get from building it, and the feeling I walk away with after the castle's been done, because that's always a nice touch where like I have a bit of ownership over this thing that I created. The thing I think that puts it a little higher for me is the fact that I've played so many other games and still I haven't seen anyone make a game like this.
That's true.
This feels still very unique and fresh, so I've can't really compare it to too many things without saying, well, it's like that, but it does this. Or it's like that, but it still does this. It sets itself apart by its own uniqueness and its approach to how to, well, put together a wacky shape.
Yep, agreed.
So 9 out of 12, pretty good for a game that came back out in 2014.
Right, and now there is a new edition as of this recording. They've come out with a second edition and a collector's edition. So if this is a brand new to you game, you will probably want to look into those because the first edition is probably going to be really hard to find. And hopefully the second edition has better graphic design and improvements that will make it a better experience.
Mm-hmm. At least they look bigger.
Yeah.
Of course, they're also going to be more expensive.
Yes, everything will be a bit more expensive.
I think the big collector's edition was like 200.
Yeah.
And then if you want the Barbicans and modes,
those were like 3D.
Another $100 or so.
You'll have to take a look to see what's available online. You might want to go with just the standard second edition to get started.
All right. And Sarah.
Yes.
Out of all these crazy, crazy castles, is there any design that actually stuck out to you?
No, but for as crazy as things are, I think what stuck out to me is there still was a lot of logic between what certain rooms wanted.
Yeah.
So like there's
a freezer has to be connected to a food room.
There was a kennel that wanted to, which is an outdoor building that wanted to be next to food rooms because you need food to feed the dogs. And so like I put a meat locker or something next to it. So that made sense. So as much as you can get really wacky with this, there is still quite a bit of logic on when you're trying to make the best scoring opportunities. There is some more real world logic between why you would put something next to something else.
That's very true. Mm-hmm. All right, and why would you ever review with just one when you can be reviewing with
two?
Oh, rolling with reviews. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with Two. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you. Because remember, he's rolling with you.